All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show here today to discuss about WWE Fastlane 2021 review. My thoughts on this pay-per-view. It was pretty average. Not too bad. It wasn't horrible to watch. It was bearable to get through. There was a couple of good matches on the card, but the ending of Daniel Bryan Roman Reigns, I understand where they were going with what they were going with here with the ending, but could they have done something a little bit more of a climax to this matchup? I mean, they couldn't have had just Roman Reigns hit a spear, make it more believable of a pinfall here, or what have you. I don't understand what the problem was with that ending, but I just didn't like it. Edge ends up beating the crap out of both of them with chair shots with the same amount of chairs, and Roman Reigns is able to crawl over, pin Daniel Bryan, and win the match. I thought Daniel Bryan should have kicked out and then got hit with a spear and lost. That's how I would have ended it. But unfortunately, that wasn't what they went with. So I'm a little kind of dumbfounded, but at the same time, I understand where they were going with this. This was a way of screwing over Daniel Bryan by Edge out of this matchup. So I do understand the situation and what they were doing here. But I just thought the ending kind of was weak. With the match being the way it was really a great matchup. A match that should have been the fucking main event of WrestleMania. If you take out Edge and Jey Uso in that whole situation, that match was superb. That was a WrestleMania main event quality match. These guys went back and forth, hard hitting, unbelievable shit that they did in this matchup. I mean, it was great. I enjoyed every minute of this main event match, and it went on for a long while. I'd say probably 20 to 30 minutes almost. This was WrestleMania quality wrestling. It's sad that this wasn't the main event of WrestleMania. We got to throw in Edge in this situation, and I just think it sucks. Edge is now coming across playing as a heel character now. He seems like a fucking prick. Which I don't mind. I thought he was great playing a heel role when he started his world championship run in WWE back in 2005, 2006, when he was trying to get to that world title, his first world title. And he was awesome doing that role, but I don't know. It just seems to me like it just seemed anticlimactic, and I didn't particularly care for the ending all that much, despite the fact that the match was absolutely great. I don't know if I should have used the word despite, but whatever. Anyway, so Roman Reigns retains his Universal Championship against Daniel Bryan. Not a surprise there. Triple threat match in the works here, more than likely. And if I'm going to say anyone is winning that Universal Championship away from Roman Reigns, it's going to be Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan's the better choice if you're going to take the title off of Roman Reigns. I said that beforehand. I said Daniel Bryan should have won the Royal Rumble to face Roman Reigns or win the Elimination Chamber match and go on to WrestleMania, face Roman Reigns for the Universal title and then beat him. He's the only guy I think currently right now that's suitable enough to beat Roman Reigns for his championship. Now, granted, I would kind of think a little bit bigger than just Daniel Bryan, because Daniel Bryan, yeah, he's a great wrestler. He's done things, though, in his career and has accomplished things as a world champion. He's had 2 world championship matches at WrestleMania. So, I mean, him getting the world title isn't all that big of a deal for him to do. So, personally, I think the world title should stay with Roman Reigns at this point until SummerSlam. I think at SummerSlam, between WrestleMania up to SummerSlam, they could build somebody up, either Big E or Cesaro, big enough to move on to the world title scene and at SummerSlam and beat Roman Reigns for the title and see how they do for 1 month as champion. If the ratings are doing very well with them as the champion, people are interested and following the show week by week, then I would keep them champion. Plain and simple. That is what I would do. I would do a test run with those guys, with either guy they choose, either Big E or Cesaro, because let's face facts, Cesaro or Big E are the best choices right now on SmackDown, on SmackDown, to actually face Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship at this point and possibly win it from him at that point as well at SummerSlam. So that's just my thoughts on it. Let me know what you guys think of who you would actually make the challenger at SummerSlam for Roman Reigns' Universal title, because that's where I would send Roman Reigns to lose the title. Not at WrestleMania. I think SummerSlam is the best place because that's really where he technically won it, even though he won it at Payback, which I don't know why. But they had him show up at SummerSlam. So he won the title in August of last year, so why not take the title off of him in August of this year? He gets a full year reign. There you go. Voila. Problem solved. And he gets a full year run as Universal Champion, and a good one at that. Unless they can't find anybody to take the title off of him that's suitable enough to do that. So if that's the case, well then, hey, that's what they should do, is just keep the title on fucking Roman Reigns at that point. If they ain't got anyone built up enough to take the title off of them. But that's just my opinion anyway, guys. But let's go through the entire match card. I'll give you guys the results and my opinion on the match itself. First off, Matt Riddle defended his U.S. Championship. I almost said Universal. U.S. Championship against Mustafa Ali. Matt Riddle retained the title. Match was okay. It wasn't great. It wasn't terrible. Match should never happen anyway because they faced each other on Monday Night Raw to begin with. So, whatever. So, Matt Riddle retains. Whoop-de-doo. Next match is the WWE Tag Team Titles. I'm not giving a rating for the U.S. Championship because I did not watch the match. The WWE Tag Team Titles were on the line for the women's division. Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax defeated Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks. My opinions on the match. The match was okay. Give it a 3 out of 5 stars. Pretty solid, okay matchup. The aftermath is even better. They finally get in Gerard or whatever the fucking butler's name is. I forgot the fucking name. Who gives a shit? Reginald, excuse me. They had Sasha Banks was acting like she had Reginald on her mind and so forth, and it looks like Reginald is not on her mind anymore. Our mind is on the SmackDown SmackDown's Women's Championship for WrestleMania. She looks like she's turning a little heelish. I mean, you're getting 3 weeks of build with her as a heel. Okay, great. She better not be losing the title to fucking Bianca Belair. Definitely shouldn't be happening. I definitely disagree with anyone that thinks Bianca Belair deserves to be the women's champion at this point, because she's not ready yet to do that. Sasha Banks needs to be built up even more if she's turning heel. And we need to see these two go at it again at SummerSlam later on this year. That's when Bianca Belair should win the title. Next match on the card was Big E versus Apollo Crews for the Intercontinental Championship. Big E retained his title. I liked the match. Match was kind of short, though. And I definitely see this as something that's going to turn into a rematch at WrestleMania, which should definitely happen. Apollo Crews, after the match was over, did get a little bit of revenge even though he lost. He beat the shit out of him and really cranked the crap out of his ass. So, that's that. We were supposed to see Shane McMahon versus Braun Strowman at this pay-per-view. Unfortunately, he had a knee injury occur during training going into the matchup. So they put Elias in, and Braun Strowman wins the match. Didn't really care for it. Barely even paid attention to it. I give it a half a star. And speaking of the Apollo Crews Big E match, I'm giving that 3.5 out of 5 stars because the story is great. And what they did in the ring with Big E, he looked magnificent. He looked serious. He just needs to have a serious attire to wear to the ring from now on, and instead of looking like he's still part of the fucking New Day. And there you go. Problem with that. Problem solved with that. Next match after that was Seth Rollins versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Very good match. 4 out of 5 stars. Though I do wish they would have just had a no contest ending here to build more towards a match with Cesaro and Seth Rollins for WrestleMania. My point being is that I think Seth Rollins should have just lost his cool and just beat the living shit out of Shinsuke Nakamura and making him into a bloody mess. That would have been really good, but WWE doesn't do blading or anything like that, so they wouldn't have worked out. But they could have just had him give him a royal beating, leading this to be a no contest, and I would have been fine with that. With the work that they did in the middle of the ring, and a no contest where he ends up just beating the holy hell out of him, and we just get a royal beatdown to Shinsuke Nakamura, giving Cesaro more intrigue to want to go after fucking Seth Rollins would have been good, but the ending was alright. It was a good ending. He won with a curb stomp. 4 out of 5 stars, definitely. I'm not discrediting the match. I just think the outcome should have been a no contest, because now you're putting Seth Rollins in a win-loss situation, a 50-50 booking. And I don't think they needed to do that. I think they just needed to make him look dominating coming out of this. Not with a win, but just him just destroying Shinsuke Nakamura and making him look pathetic. And making Cesaro more motivated and pissed off at Seth Rollins for what he did to his former tag team partner and somebody he has a lot of respect for. So I kind of feel that that would definitely be something they could have built off of on that. But hey, what they did there was okay. It's all right. The next match after that was Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus. This match was a good hardcore matchup. A lot of kendo sticks, though. A few chairs used in this matchup. No tables. Really nothing happened that was spectacular. It was just a simplistic hardcore match, which I didn't know that was the case. And of course, it was a very predictable ending. Drew McIntyre wins and keeps his opportunity for WrestleMania against Bobby Lashley for the WWE Championship, which I hope to God is not the main event of WrestleMania of night 1, because it's not deserving of it. It really isn't. But hey, what are you going to do? Matchup overall was a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Pretty average. Good hardcore matchup between these two guys, but very predictable. Randy Orton versus Alexa Bliss in another so-called hardcore match, because I don't know what the fuck this was, but it was pretty bizarre. They have fucking Alexa Bliss having all these supernatural abilities, having freaking lighting fall down into the outside area where they're standing and trying to kill Randy Orton with the freaking lighting fixtures. I mean, all this bizarro shit that looks like should be in a movie is being portrayed on a wrestling show. I don't understand it. Don't ask me why. Think it was absolutely ridiculous. Bray Wyatt came out of the bottom of the ring like he was, as if he was Kane or The Undertaker. Very typical stuff when you're playing around with the characters of the dead characters, I guess you could say. That's what he is. He's a dead Dead Man, Undertaker, Kane bullshit. And he looked so fucking pathetic. At first, when he came out of the mat and you see his hand's all got burnt flesh and shit. And I'm like, whoa, this is pretty fucking badass. But then when he comes out of the mat and you see his full, attire to make him look like he's burnt alive and his flesh is all burnt up, he looks so fucking stupid. I mean, you got gloves on the guy's hands, which you can clearly see are gloves. It looks so fucking terrible. Get a fucking real movie person that can come in there and do the artwork on the character and, and the suit and everything, and then you got something going. If you ain't got that, don't fucking do that shit. That's fucking retarded. I mean, he looked ridiculous. This character, Bray Wyatt, is dead. There was no reason to bring him back to do anything special. Really, there shouldn't have been any reason for Bray Wyatt to come back as The Fiend. The Fiend is a dead character right on arrival. He is fucked. He looks ridiculous. I don't give a fuck how good the storyline is, because I'll be the first one to come straight out and tell you guys I was interested in this, though him constantly spewing black blood out of his mouth was a little ridiculous every week. But I mean, it was intriguing to a certain extent. Now that I get to see Bray Wyatt in his new form of The Fiend, I'm just like, what the fuck is this? Who gives a shit? Forget about it. Get lost. You suck. I don't give a shit. I'm giving this a 0 stars for a match, because this was not a match. Bray Wyatt hit the Sister Abigail, and Alexa Bliss got the 1-2-3 on Randy Orton. And of course, we all know Bray Wyatt is going to face Randy Orton at WrestleMania in a very, very pathetic and shitty ass match. We all know that's coming. And that is definitely going to come after fucking attire like what Bray Wyatt has now. Thank you, Vince. You've killed all of our hopes and care of this character. Now, please put him to rest at WrestleMania, where we have a buried alive match and say goodbye to The Fiend forever. Please, just do the buried alive match with Randy Orton and The Fiend and have The Fiend get buried alive. For the love of God, just put an end to this motherfucker. It sucks. I hope Randy Orton kicks the shit out of The Fiend and puts this character to rest, because it's fucking ridiculous. That's what the match I would set up. Randy Orton, Fiend, buried alive match, end this motherfucking character and put it to rest, as I already said. So that's pretty much it on that. And Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns match. Of course, I already stated Roman Reigns retains his Universal Championship in a somewhat of a anticlimactic ending, in my opinion. But the match overall was fucking great. I mean, I can't deny that. This matchup, I'm giving a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I'd have given it a 5 if it had a very good ending, a solid ending with a spear, at least, by Roman Reigns to get a believable 1-2-3. But for Daniel Bryan to take a couple of chair shots, the same as Roman Reigns, and not kick out, kind of made me feel a little, really? So that's just my opinion, though, but I'm definitely giving it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. And like I said, if it would have had a very solid ending with a spear, I would have given it a 5. This was WrestleMania quality all the way. Like I said in the beginning of the video, this was awesome. I enjoyed this match very much. I'd even go back and watch it despite the fact of the ending, because it was really a fucking off-the-chain WrestleMania quality match. Bottom line, guys. But anyway, at this time, you know what to do. Hit the like button if you like this video. Hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to the channel. And leave a comment down below, and I'll definitely get back to you on that. And I thank you very much for watching. Have a great night, guys. Bye.